Well, this thing's sure looking good. Even though it's winter, don't forget your annual flowers like pansies are still going to need some water. With it being cooler when it does rain, obviously, the ground will stay moister longer and you won't have to water. But if you go through any long dry spells, make sure to keep your pansies watered. Hey there, it's Pete with GCI Turf. I hope you're having a great day today. And we're going into winter. Lawn care, yard work, that kind of thing is going to start to go downhill and slow down. Things are going to shut down. Leaves are going to fall off the trees. Grass is going to quit growing. All kind of things happen when it starts to get cold outside. And, unfortunately, that means you spend less time outside in the yard and more time inside the house. I come in from work the other night and as I turned in, the headlights kind of shined across the yard and I could see that glistening, and it was just super cold. I just knew it. You kind of get that gut feeling, well, tomorrow morning is going to be the first frost. And lo and behold, when I left the next morning to go to work, there it was. The yard was frosted over. To me, that's kind of my indicator that winter's right around the corner. You know what I mean? Now, when you hear me say the first frost came, that don't mean the ground is frozen. Let me show you. That compaction tester is roughly 33 inches long, I believe. And you can see pretty much anywhere I go, I can bury it. Matter of fact, let's go over here and see if we can do it with one hand. Takes a little more to get it with one hand, but I still say that's not compacted. I got an idea. Let's see. Oh yeah. Look at there. So how am I able to do that? Well, I am consistent and persistent. So that's kind of the way I feel that I can, just bury that thing with no problem, is because of my entire lawn care program. It's not just the NPK, it's just not the biostimulants, it's everything I do to my yard, how I manage it from A to Z. And that's what my lawn care guide is. It's actually a guide that kind of mimics exactly what I do to my yard, and it'll take you step by step by step, tell you everything you need to know, what to use, when to use it, for you that are in different weather patterns than us. If you're far north, it gives you indicators when you start, when you stop, and all that, because I know our weather's a little bit different. But the lawn care guide, I stand by it. That's how my yard got to the way it is, and that's how I continue to keep it like this. Now, one of the applications in my lawn care guide is the winterizer, and I use the Protein 19019. My personal preference is a pound of nitrogen, a pound of potassium. I like the potash in the mix for stress. Like I said, even though we don't get super cold here and it's just terribly frigid, y'all may deal with some stress over the winter because of the cold temperatures. And that's why I like the potassium in there to kind of help out with that. Nitrogen in the mix is going to do a few things. One, you can see the color of my yard. It's super dark green. It's going to help to maintain that color over the winter. Now here's your disclaimer. If you do get super cold, okay, frigid temperatures, yes, the yard will probably lose some of its color, even if you do put a winterizer down. But in my case, here in North Carolina, we stay pretty mild during the winter. We'll get pretty cold, but we'll also have several mild days, so it's kind of a lot of fluctuation back and forth. But overall, the nitrogen in the 19019 will help me to maintain this color or close to it throughout the winter. I always apply a liquid calcium going into stressful situations. You know, calcium's going to make the plant tough. It's going to make the cell wall stronger. It's going to help it to be able to fight off and resist stress. And of course, you know, I apply that going into the summertime. And then I also like to apply it going into winter. So how do you do it if I'm applying a granular? The protein's a granular, the Cal-Tide's a liquid. So how do I make that application make sense? Well, 99.999% of the time, I will always apply the granular first. And then I'll go behind it and then I'll spray the liquid. Now, what if it's a product that requires watering in? Well, that's obvious. You water it in when you get done. In this case, I took full advantage of the foliar effect from the Cal-Tide, and to increase the efficacy of that, I even added the natural adjuvant. You know, I'm a big fan of that. Almost every liquid application, nutrient-wise, that I do to my yard, I'm gonna have that adjuvant in the tank. So what if I'm using a liquid that I wanna apply as a foliar feed, and then I also have a granular? How do you water that in? It's simple. I put the granular down first, then I spray the liquid, and I walk away. And then the next time that my irrigation cycle happens to be running, that's when it'll all get watered in. I've been doing it that way for years and years, and I've had zero issues doing it that way. Now, I know that most DIY guys are not gonna buy the type of equipment that you might see me making a video with, including the turfware that I was applying all this stuff with. I have a different option for you. I have a list of battery-powered backpack sprayers that has the tips that I like to use with them, and it kind of mimics the commercial spraying equipment in a way. It's so much easier for you to spray your yard using the backpack sprayer setup that I've got on the website. So I'll link that up, and the fertilizer and the calcium in the description below. You can check it out if you want to. Anytime you put your granular fertilizer down, you want to make sure that you blow it off the hard surfaces. You know, every now and then you'll get a little bit out in the road, you'll get a little bit on your sidewalk, your driveway. Make sure you blow that back into the grass before you start watering. I did this all the other day. I think it was Halloween day. I did all this, and man, Halloween, we have a boatload of people come in our neighborhood, and I use these little reflectors I get from Lowe's. They're about $3 a piece, something like that. And I line my property, line my yard with those reflectors, because folks don't care, man. They'll pull right in your yard and park. And of course, I work really hard on my yard, and I just don't want the car parking in my grass. So I line the yard with those reflectors. It's a very good deterrent. So hey, as always, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch, and I'll check you later.